Oh boy, pig news, guys. So, yesterday, I gotta tell you, was cemented as one of the greatest days in history. Now, of course, the mainstream media will tell you that it's actually one of the worst days in both Canadian and American history because it was actually a good day and we have to do everything the opposite if it's the Conservatives and the opposite if it's Democrats. But no, we're gonna put this as the anniversary of January 6th. That's right. January 6th. One of the greatest days ever. From about 4 years ago, it was one of the greatest days because it was a day where people decided to actually stand up against the corruption and say, we don't believe that Biden actually got 81 million votes. And they did a very almost entirely peaceful protest as opposed to BLM that does a fiery but mostly peaceful protest. And I'm putting that in quotes because that's actually literally what CNN said. It's even in my fucking intro. I put it there because it deserves to be there. It's like a permanent part of my intro. But here on the Canadian side, it's also the day where Justin Trudeau finally resigned. Holy God, this man has been terrorizing Canada for a decade. A decade of literal fucking torture. But finally, the blessings of January 6th from the US have also been spread over to Canada to help us out as well and get rid of this motherfucker. Now, it is true that the Liberals' plan is not just get rid of him, but actually replace him before the election to bring in another corruption, or as Pierre Poilievre puts it, a Justin Trudeau 2.0. Obviously, that is not what the entire country wants, but it is what the corrupt politicians want. So hopefully that doesn't fucking happen. I imagine that they'll want to bring in Jagmeet Singh or someone else who's really, really bad to destroy the country even more, and also allowing the Liberals to keep their jobs and their money because obviously the Liberals' money is more important than the actual state of the country. Duh. So that's what they want to protect. But regardless, we are here to celebrate the very blessed day of January 6th. So before we watch this amazing video of this loser announcing his resignation so we can all laugh at him, I just want to bring up a few things. I mean, there have been times where, Canadians have hit their limit, right? I mean, the trucker convoy was a big one because, number one, the trucker convoy was kind of like our version of the protest at the Capitol in the United States. And just like at the protest at the Capitol being where most people started loving Trump, this was around the time where most people started hating Trudeau because of the way that he treated the protesters in Ottawa. Not only calling them all racist just because they want freedom, but just the way he acted, freezing accounts, not going to talk to them, all the other horrible shit he did. We have moments like that here in Canada. The trucker convoy was one of the greatest protests probably in existence of any country. I mean, nobody was hurt there. It was fucking great. Nobody was hurt until the cops came by at Trudeau's orders and forced them to hurt people and then blamed the hurt on other protesters. Typical Trudeau scumminess. But yeah, it's really good, and I do have more things to say, but I think instead of saying it now, we'll just watch the reaction and I'll say it as we go. But let's begin.
Every morning I've woken up as Prime Minister.
And I have decided how I'm going to make the country even worse every day.
I've been inspired by
the happy faces that I see of Canadian citizens. And I think to myself, how can I take that smile away? And then, when I see unhappy Canadians yelling at my face about what a piece of shit I am, all it does is make me want to stay Prime Minister even longer as opposed to shorter, because I like seeing the misery that I've caused on people.
Resilience, generosity, and the determination of Canadians.
What are you talking about? What generosity? When it comes to Canadians towards you, every single video online involves people just yelling at your face to get out of Canada. But yes, we are resilient. That part's true.
It is.
I mean, we have to be resilient to put up with you for 10 years.
The driving force of every single day I have the privilege of serving in this office.
You have the privilege of serving in this office. No, you had the privilege of sitting on your ass for 10 years, destroying the country and benefiting from it.
That is why, since 2015, I've fought for this country.
You have no. No, stop lying. You didn't fight for this country. You fought the country.
For you.
Against us.
To strengthen and grow.
To weaken.
The middle class.
To literally, let's talk economically, you've literally turned the middle class into the lower class, and you've turned the lower class into the street.
Why we rallied to support each other through the pandemic.
Support each other during the pandemic? You mean like the trucker convoy where you tried to ruin people's lives because they didn't want to get a fucking shot that you literally forced on people?
To advance reconciliation. To defend free trade on this continent.
Right.
To stand strong with Ukraine and our democracy.
Something that Canadians didn't want to do. I mean, look, I'll say it, and I'm not sure I've said it in other videos, but I don't care. The point is, I don't mind helping other countries. What I mind is putting those countries before ours. It doesn't matter how bad Ukraine is doing or whatever, or Syria, whatever. What fucking matters is that you are leading Canada. I know, it's a crazy fucking concept. You are supposed to manage the country that you're leading first, before other countries. And you have literally put Canada last for 10 years, which is why we're in fucking ruins. When it comes to offering financial assistance, it's always going to other countries. When it comes to giving money to people who actually live in Canada, it's still not going to Canadians. It's usually going to the immigrants that you fucking mass bring here. Fucker.
Democracy. And to fight climate change and
fight climate change, the things that don't fucking matter. Well, I mean, guys, the economy doesn't matter. The lack of jobs doesn't matter. The mass immigration destroying the country doesn't matter. The fact that you can't afford food, rent, or gas doesn't matter. You know what does matter? The weather. So give me your fucking money so that I can make the weather good again.
Get our economy ready for the future.
Shut up.
We are at a critical moment in the world.
We are at a critical moment because you fucking caused it. Trudeau, remember when you said, and I'm quoting you verbatim, it's kind of hard to be in power for 9 years. He said this last year. It's kind of hard to be in power for 9 years and still blame the other guy. Other guy meaning the Conservatives. Yeah, you're right, Trudeau. It is kind of hard for you to be in power for 10 years and still somehow blame the Conservatives for your fucking problems. Yeah, it is hard. I can see that.
My friends, as you all know, I'm a fighter. Every bone in my body has always told me to fight because I care deeply.
You don't care, though. You don't care deeply. You're a sociopath, dude, and I can prove it. And I don't just mean that study that proves that pretty much every politician is a diagnosable clinical psychopath. But, well, that is obviously part of it. But what I mean is I'm going to look at you specifically and your behavior for years. At least, I would say at least the last 4 years minimum. You actually know. Like, you're not... Like, you're obviously dumb as fuck, but you're smart enough to know this. You know that Canada hates you. Okay, you are not delusional to that. You're not that fucking delusional, dude. You know, for a minimum of 4 years, that Canada hates you. And you also know that Canada is in a bad state because of you. And you have refused to relinquish power. Here's the very basic rare sense, okay? If you are aware that Canada hates you and doesn't want you here, even as a fucking citizen, but you refuse to leave power, you know that it's got nothing to do with you actually, with what you can do for the country, right? Because how can you do things for the country if the country doesn't like you or want you, right? Basic fucking rare sense. You cannot do things for the country if you know you're not doing anything for the country. So you didn't want power to help the country because you know you're not doing that anyway. You wanted power because you're power hungry. That's the reason. If you wanted power because you actually had power and desire to help the country, then you would help the country. You made it worse, and you're aware of this. Therefore, any desire for power is about you, not the country. You are a narcissistic sociopath who just wanted power for the sake of power. It had nothing to do with what you were doing with the power. You just wanted power. That makes you a narcissistic sociopath.
About Canadians, I care deeply about this country.
You don't.
And I will always be motivated by what is in the best interest of Canadians.
Well, the best interests have been people being able to afford food, rent, and live, and you have made that... I mean, just look at all the graphs that show the rate of cost of living requirements for both food, rent, gas. You can see, I know there's a lot of dumb people who say, well, it only got bad because of COVID. It was COVID's fault, not Trudeau. No. If you look at the graphs, we actually had a drastic increase right in 2015, right when he got elected. It was right, boom, 2015, 5 years before COVID. And the graph was kind of like this, right? Up until 2015, it was going up a little bit, a little bit up, a little down, a little bit up. And then right in 2015, it went like this. It was Trudeau.
And the fact is, despite best efforts to work through it,
Best efforts by literally doing nothing.
Parliament has been paralyzed for months.
Because of you.
After what has been the longest session of a minority parliament in Canadian history. That's why this morning I advised the Governor-General that we need a new session of Parliament. She has granted this request, and the House will now be prorogued until March 24th. Over the holidays, I've also had a chance to reflect and have had long talks with my family about our future. Throughout the course of my career, any success I have personally achieved has...
What have you achieved? What the fuck have you achieved, Mr. Drama Teacher?
...been because of their support and with their encouragement.
What a piece of shit.
So last night over dinner, I told my kid...
Your fucking family turned to you and said, Mr. Trudeau, I know we're not allowed to call you dad. We are very tired of walking outside and having Canadians throw tomatoes at us for just for being your fucking blood. So please stop running the country. Stop ruining the country. Please, Dad, please. Mr. Trudeau, I'm sorry. Sir. Sire. Emperor.
Kids about the decision that I'm sharing with you today. I intend to resign as party leader, as Prime Minister, after the party selects its next leader through a robust, nationwide, competitive process.
And hopefully, for once, it's not corrupt, where all you're going to do is replace yourself with another fucking liberal piece of shit. I won't hold my breath.
Last night, I asked the president of the Liberal Party to begin that process. This country...
You asked to, and I guarantee I know exactly what you said. President of the Liberal Party, we're not going to have an election because we can't let Pierre Poilievre become Prime Minister. What I want you to do is just find another fucking Liberal to replace me who has the exact same values as I do, okay?
He deserves a real choice in the next election, and it has become clear to me that if I'm having to fight internal battles, I cannot...
Internal battles like being a literal diagnosable psychopath, and you in fighting the demons of trying to repress that, even though they get let out every single fucking time you talk to Pierre Poilievre in Parliament.
...be the best option in that election. The Liberal Party of Canada is an important institution in the history.
It's really not. I mean, we've seen over the last 10 years, in the U.S. as well, that the liberal side is just not worth it. I mean, the liberals, whether if it's the political left, whether if it's the mainstream media left, all you fucking people do is shoot yourself in the foot over and over and over and over and over again, and then wonder why people hate you. The mainstream media be like, Geez, all we do is lie about literally everything. All we ever do is talk about how conservatives are horrible people for doing things right and liberals are great people for doing things horribly. I don't understand why people hate us. Why do people hate us? CNN's like, why does the entire world hate us? I don't understand. All we do is lie. What's the fucking problem? MSNB like, all we do is call Trump Hitler every single day, 365 days a year since 2015. Why do people hate us? I don't understand. Why do people hate us? And then and then also the liberals or Democrats in the U.S. All we did was push away any candidate who was good, like Tulsi Gabbard or Bernie Sanders, and bring in corruption like Hillary Clinton or Joe Biden. I don't understand. What are we doing wrong? I mean, all we did was prop up a senile old man with stage 4 dementia. As a person who works in healthcare, I can tell you that Biden does have stage 4 dementia. All we did was prop up a man who has stage 4 dementia like a fucking puppet and say to the entire world that he's doing great and Trump is the problem. And then the absolute microsecond that Biden stepped down, we said, oh wait, never mind, he's a piece of shit. I don't know why. I don't know, like, what were the Democrats thinking propping him up, even though it was literally your fucking fault? I mean, I don't know what we do. All we do is bullshit around people nonstop, fucking 365 days a year, 24 hours a day. So what is wrong with doing things wrong? I don't understand.
History of our great country and democracy. A new prime minister and leader of the Liberal Party will carry its values
and hopefully it's Pierre Poilievre. Although did you just say liberal? I'm already struggling to listen to this motherfucker.
Ideals into that next election. I'm excited to see the process unfold in the months ahead. We were elected for the third time in 2021.
And that's when the entire country started crying and half of us started considering suicide or actually did it.
To strengthen the economy post-pandemic.
Strengthen the economy.
And advanced Canada's interests in a complicated world. And that is exactly the job that I and we will continue to do for Canadians.
What the fuck are you talking about? This guy is amazing. I love how he still talks about how great of a job he has done or will continue to do, but then say, I'm not good enough, so I'm stepping down. Which is it? Are you the greatest prime minister in the world, or do you fucking suck?
As you all know, I am a fighter. And I am not someone...
You are not a fighter. You're a fucking loser. The only fighting you've done is against Canadians. But when it comes to fighting for Canadians, you are the weakest person in the world. You are literally a walking... I'm not going to say vagina. Quick little side note. I actually think vaginas are very tough. I mean, if you kick a man in the balls, he's down on the ground. You kick a woman's vagina, she's like... I feel nothing. Vaginas are actually tough. You're the opposite of a vagina. You are a man's ball sack being punched. That's what you are. Immediately, boom, one hit, you're on the floor. Fetal position.
Someone who backs away from a fight, particularly when a fight is as important as this one is.
You don't back away from a fight. Bro, in the House of Commons, when you're debating Pierre Poilievre, you've never once answered one of his questions. You have literally... in 10 years, never answered a question in the House of Commons asked by Pierre Poilievre. And you have the nerve to say that you don't back down? You only back down.
But I have always been driven by
your narcissism.
Love for Canada,
Love for Canada. This man hates Canada. He fucking hates us.
My desire to serve Canadians and by what is in the best interest of Canadians.
You mean for Canada to serve you and make you a billionaire?
And Canadians deserve a real choice in the next election.
Oh, we deserve a choice. Did we get a choice? I mean, in 2015, people were dumb enough to elect you, fine. But did we get a choice 4 years later? How about 4 years after that? How about, I think it was 2 years later when we had a snap election? Were we given choices then? Or were you just a corrupt piece of shit who kept rigging it? And calling elections at the last second? Or doing super nice things right when it was time for you to go in order to keep your power? I mean, how many times was it where you would say, right when you were on the edge, you would say, oh, actually, I will stop immigration, guys. I'll do it. I'll stop immigration if that'll make you guys happy for a month, and then I'll bring all the people back in again. I mean, I just need to stay in power. So if I need to stop mass immigration for 1 month just so I can convince you all that I'm great, then you let me stay, and then I'll bring mass immigration back, right? We're nearing the edge. Okay, 2 months of no tax on Canadians, right? That'll delude people to think that I'm good, right? Right.
And it has become obvious to me with the internal battles that I cannot be the one to carry the Liberal standard into the next election.
Why not? Why aren't you the one, dude? I thought you were the greatest prime minister who's ever lived on the entire planet.
We got elected in 2015 to fight for the middle class.
And you've done everything but.
That's exactly what we've done over the past years.
No. Stop lying.
We reduced their taxes.
Nope. We increased
the benefits to families. We
decreased.
We made sure the economy was focused on working for everyone and not.
You didn't. It works against everybody.
Not just a few.
It works against Canadians. It works for the mass immigrants, but not Canadians.
And that has changed. That has dropped poverty rates in Canada. That
increased. That's why there's more tent cities than ever before in history.
Has brought more people into the workforce.
There's more immigrants in the workforce, hence why the average Canadian can't work at McDonald's.
Has moved us forward on reconciliation in a way that has deeply improved the.
Improved. He thinks he's improved Canada. I can't. How does a man go from I've improved Canada, but I'm not good enough to be your prime minister anymore? Dude, if you are as great as you say, then you'd be fine to stay leader. You fucking idiot.
Opportunities and success of Canadians despite the incredibly difficult times the world is going through right now.
That you've caused. It's all your fault, dude.
There's lots more work to be done, and I know that this party and this country and Canadians will keep doing it.
Yeah, we're fighting against you, although most of us are borderline dropping dead from being tortured for 10 years.
If I have one regret, particularly as we approach this election,
You have so many things to regret, dude. Are you going to regret any horrible thing you've done?
Probably many regrets that I will think of.
Name them.
But I do wish that we'd been able to change the way we elect our governments in this country so that people could simply choose a second choice or a third choice.
What the fuck? Wow, you are an actual fucking piece of shit. He's referencing how, you know how in the United States, it's every 4 years no matter what, right? But here, you can stay prime minister basically forever. It's the same thing in the UK, which is why it's been 10 years for him as opposed to the maximum of 8 years in the US. He says that he wishes that people could just vote and bring people in and out. Meanwhile, you did everything in your power to avoid elections to make sure that you stay in. You are the scummiest man ever.
On the same ballot, so that parties would spend more time trying to be people's second or third choices.
But I want to be everyone's first choice for a minimum of a decade.
And people would have been looking for things they have in common instead of trying to polarize and divide Canadians against each other.
Which is what you've been doing.
I think in this time, figuring out how to pull together and find common ground remains something that is really important for democracies. But I could not change unilaterally without support of other parties our electoral system. That wouldn't have been responsible.
I'm wondering if you feel that another leader will have more success than you will at beating Pierre.
A friggin' monkey would have more success than him. But we need Pierre Poilievre.
Poilievre in the next campaign.
Pierre Poilievre, yes.
Pierre Poilievre.
Go ahead and insult Pierre, I fucking dare you.
His vision for this country is not the right one for Canadians.
Yeah, it's not. Lowering taxes, lowering mass immigration, getting rid of the carbon tax, building the economy stronger, Lowering the cost of food, lowering the cost of rent. Yeah, that's not what Canadians want.
Stopping the fight against climate change doesn't
Yes! Yes! Can we stop the fight against climate change so we can focus on important things?
make sense.
It does make sense, you fucking idiot.
Backing off on the values and strength in diversity that
He can't even name anything! He's sitting there like, the stuff Pierre wants, like lowering the carbon tax and those other horrible things that Pierre wants. What are they, Trudeau?
Canada has always worked to pull itself together on is not the...
You didn't even say what you're talking about. You just said the thing that Canadians want. He can't name it because he knows that it's either a good thing or it doesn't fucking exist.
right path for the country.
Fuck.
Attacking journalists, the CB...
Yes, attacking journalists. In what way is attacking the lying media a bad thing?
BBC institutions. That's not what Canadians need in this moment.
It is what we need. It's what Canadians want, and it's what Canadians have needed for over a decade.
We need an ambitious, optimistic view of the future.
False. Absolutely false. Optimism is what fucking creates problems, because when you're optimistic, you don't see the negatives. You cannot fix a negative if you don't fucking look at them, you fucking twat. People like Pierre Poilievre and me are not pessimistic. We're realistic. When he sees something, when Pierre Poilievre mentions negativity, it's not him just being negative. It's him pointing out things that are objectively fucking negative.
And Pierre Poilievre is not offering that.
Shut the fuck up! Shut the fuck up! Shut the fuck up! Shut the fuck up!
Shut up.
And I look forward to the fight as progressives across this country
Regressives. That's what we call SJWs. Regressives. That's the actual correct term.
stand up for the kind of vision for a better country that Canadians have always...
Yeah, a better country by continuing to following the fucking trail of oblivion you've left for the last decade. What a great idea. Remember, the literal definition of insanity is doing the exact same thing over and over and over again and expecting a different result. This is the mindset of all people on the left, all SJWs, the entire mainstream media, and you.
Carried, despite the tremendous pressures around the world to think smaller.
Nobody thinks smaller than you, bro. Fucking nobody. A diagnosable clinical psychopath.
To veer towards the hard right and to be less ambitious for what we can be and do as a country when the
Look at what you've done to Canada.
world really needs Canada.
That's not an answer, though. Yes or no? Is there another leader that could?
Even now, he won't answer the question.
beat him?
Absolutely.
Who? Jagmeet Singh?
Given, as you just said, there's going to be confidence votes in March, opposition parties have said they are prepared to bring down your government. What kind of
I hope.
chances do you think you are leaving to your successor, given that there will only be...
Given that the new Liberal leader will be taking over a fucking ruin. The Liberal Party looks like... I was going to make a really bad joke. Looks like Ukraine. Okay. I'm getting banned.
mere weeks for them to introduce themselves to Canadians before heading into an election, potentially?
I have a tremendous amount of confidence
Of course you do, because you're fucking stupid.
in both Canadians and
In Canadians, okay. Yeah, okay.
in parliamentarian
No.
interest in serving Canadians in the right way. They're
If it's the way you've done it, then fuck you.
we're in a minority government right now, and they're
You're a minority fucking person, bro.
Merci, leadership.
Merci beaucoup, c'est ce qui conclut la conférence de presse d'aujourd'hui.
Merci tout le monde. Merci d'être ici dans une belle journée d'Ottawa. Bonne journée.
And I am so happy I will never have to see this motherfucker's face again. Fuck you. Good riddance, you fucking piece of shit. This also means I'll have to change up my intro. So let's see what Pierre Poilievre had to say about his resignation.
Canadians desperate to turn the page on this dark chapter in our history might be relieved today that Justin Trudeau is finally leaving. But what has really changed? Every Liberal MP in power today and every potential Liberal leadership contender fighting for the top job helped Justin Trudeau break the country over the last 9 years. All Liberal politicians actively worked to pass into law the job-killing inflationary carbon tax, a tax that Carbon Tax Carney endorsed in his book. All supported a law quadrupling the tax over the next 5 years. All voted for or actively supported Trudeau's out-of-control spending, debt, and immigration. All passed Trudeau's housing policies that doubled the cost of homes. All Liberal politicians helped pass catch-and-release bail and house arrest for the most rampant reoffenders, policies that increased violent crime 50%, gun crime 116%, and hate crime.
Wow, a man showing statistics. I know, you never see that on the Liberal side.
By 250%. So given that Liberal MPs and leadership contenders unanimously supported everything Trudeau has done, why dump him now, right before an election? Have they had a change of heart? Is it because they feel guilty that they doubled housing costs, hiked taxes, unleashed crime, broke immigration, forced a quarter of the population into poverty? No. They continued supporting Trudeau when he did all of those things. No, their only objection is that he is no longer popular enough to win an election and keep him in power.
Yes, which is exactly what the U.S. did when they dropped Biden for Kamala. They're doing the exact same thing. This is not about getting Trudeau out because he's bad. It's because he's not popular enough to win, and they need somebody who can win against Pierre. This is exactly what the left thought in the United States when they thought Biden couldn't beat Trump, so they brought in Kamala.
They want to protect their pensions and paycheck by sweeping their hated leader under the rug months before an election to trick you and then do it all over again. Now, while leaderless Liberals focus on
so nice to hear a man saying actual fucking facts.
Saving their jobs and fighting each other for power, the country spirals out of control, an out-of-control housing emergency, an out-of-control migrant crisis, an out-of-control $62 billion deficit, not to mention tariff threats from the United States. Oh, and another NDP Liberal carbon tax hike kicks in this April 1st. Everything's out of control, and now the government is out of control. This cannot go on. We need a carbon tax election now to choose between the NDP Liberal costly coalition that taxes your food, punishes your work, doubles your housing costs, and unleashes crime and drugs in your community. Or common sense conservatives who will axe the tax, build the homes, fix the budget, and stop the crime. Canadians can take back control of their lives and their country. Take back control of our border. Take back control of immigration. Take back control of spending, deficits, and inflation. Take back control of our streets by locking up criminals, banning drugs, treating addiction, and stopping gun smugglers. We'll cap spending, axe taxes, reward work, build homes, uphold family, stop crime, secure borders, rearm our forces, restore our freedom, and put Canada first.
For once.
All with one mission: to bring home Canada's promise that every hardworking Canadian gets a powerful paycheck and pension that buys affordable food and homes on safe streets where all are united for the country we know and love. Canada first, Canada last, Canada always. Let's bring.
This is, like, I've always loved Pierre. I think he's an actual fucking human being. Just like Donald Trump and Pierre Poilievre are probably the only two politicians that I see genuine, like, human emotion and care from. And I only hope that he will be the first politician to not lie. I'm actually having faith. Let's see how it goes. And by the way, this is just me, people can follow if they want, I really hope you do, but from this point forward, I am calling January 6th National Democracy Day. In the United States, we had people fighting for democracy who didn't believe that Biden really won the election. And over here in Canada, we got Trudeau resigning. That's if that's not democracy, nothing fucking is. January 6th, National Democracy Day. All right, everybody. I'll see you later.